Very excited to talk about this show. I watched it all last night and I was just amazed from start to finish. So Tegan, I'll start with you. I mean, obviously you and Sarah put together the book, but how did you go about, working with Clea and Laura to put together the show?
Well, Clea read an early, like a version before it got published and just came to us and was like, don't sell your story. Like, if you're going to try to make this into something, do it with me. We've been friends forever. So we really trusted her. I didn't think we'd ever get it done. Everyone's like, it's so hard to get a show made. I was like, we'll never do it, but it'll just be a fun project with Clea. We'd worked with her on other stuff. She's directed us before in videos and stuff. So, and we just kind of developed the idea together. We were like, kind of just like broke out the first season and then went out and found a production company. And when Plan B came aboard, they set up meetings when COVID hit, and all of a sudden we were making a TV show. And I think Laura and Clea did an amazing job adapting it and figuring out what to fictionalize and what to add. And, I think they stayed true to our story and the ethos of the majority of the characters, but I think they made it television, made it good television, added lots of drama and things that weren't in the book. And, yeah, it's just been a total pleasure. It's been incredible to learn a whole new industry and to be a part of bringing this story to television. And I just feel like completely like blown away and grateful. And yeah, it was a cool process.
Well, I'm glad that it did happen because this is such a wonderful story to get to learn more about. And Seazynn, for you, I mean, what was it like? What about this show and the material really drew you and your sister's interest to want to be a part of it?
Wow.
She got forced into it.
See, I can't say initially I did want to be a part of it, but I mean, after like reading the scripts and knowing exactly what the story is about, I thought it was a really great story to be able to tell with them on screen, and that I think it's so important to be told, and I think it's not. After I had read it, I had realized that it's like nothing I had watched before. And so I thought it was going to be really interesting with that as well. And so I was just excited to be a part of it after that point.
You can admit that once you talked to us on Zoom, you were also like, man, they seem so cool. I want to hang out with them.
Right. Sorry, I forgot that part.
I mean, yeah, right. There you go. That's the ultimate sell. So Seazynn, what was it then like for you? I mean, having to step into, embodying someone who has, is working on the project with you.
I think it was a little nerve-wracking to have to play somebody else who is sitting right there, and knowing I'm playing like the younger version of her, and like she knows all of these stories way more accurately than I can just from reading a script. And so it was nerve-wracking and a little overwhelming, but we got through it.
Well, you got through it very well because it comes across phenomenally on screen.
Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. And I love the music of this show. I mean, that whole era of, indie alt rock was just such a great time capsule. And so Tegan, I'll turn to you first. What was it like putting together the track list for this? Because I had talked to Clea and Laura, and they said you were very involved with that process as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've all bonded over. I mean, it was so great to have two queer women from the same era in the driver's seat. So Clea and Laura were really awesome, so collaborative with us about the music, and our music supervisor is just wonderful. And the big thing was like we wanted all the big classics. Of course, we needed Smashing Pumpkins and Nirvana, and like I wrote letters. Like the first draft of what it was going to cost to get the music we wanted was like absurd. It was like a third of the show's budget, but we wanted that. We wanted it to be true to the era. Like, we wanted those big classic bands to be in there, but, it was really important to us that there be a lot of women. We grew up listening to like a lot of alternative women, like 7 Year Bitch and Babes in Toyland and, the Breeders and Liz Phair and like Brooke Assault and like Ani DeFranco. And so as the show evolves, you're going to see our musical evolution as, hopefully if we get more seasons. So, yeah, it was an amazing experience. Even hiring Anna Warniker from That Dog, she's just incredible to score the show. It was just, yeah, it was like pinch me, dream. I just like, it was so important to me because like the 90s to me were really good and also horrible at the same time. But I think that we like really showcased the best parts of it because that's what we were really engaged in when we wrote the book. So I'm so glad we were able to accomplish that with the show too. But the music, I mean, we were all at TIFF a couple weeks ago, and in the theater, it's like the soundtrack is so badass. Like when the music hits, it's just like it's jarring. It's so good.
It's I still, a lot of the tracks that you have are show up on my Spotify all the time because I
Oh,
love
that's
that era.
awesome.
So it was
Yeah.
perfect to hear. And so Seazynn, for you, did you have like a playlist you would bring to the set with you every day to help get you into that mindset and that time period for filming?
I actually do have a playlist of like 90s songs, and it was from the show for the reason that I have it. It wasn't like for any reason, like to get ready for anything. I don't exactly know why, but I mean, I have the playlist on my phone. That's as far as I could say. I don't know why, and I don't know what it's for. I know it's from high school.
Well, it's to enjoy now. it's to
Yeah.
it's to have for the future. Was there any one song, by the way, Tegan, that you were disappointed you didn't get in the show, since you mentioned that huge list?
Well, like there were songs, there were a couple songs from like the big acts, like from Nirvana specifically, that we just couldn't afford. Um, also those catalogs are run, now by boards basically. And so like when you submit to use those songs, you also have to like submit your use, and you have to convince people that the song is going to be used in a way that feels appropriate to the song. So it's complicated, but honestly, there were very few tragedies in the music realm. It was pretty great. It went over really great. And like it was a big part of our sales pitch when Sarah and I and Clea went out and sold the show. We used my so-called life as a comp, because music was so significant in that show, and it didn't just have big moments like with the Cranberries. Like no one will ever forget that scene, with Claire Danes dancing in a room. But there was also like Buffalo Tom and like these indie bands that were in there, and I think that was super important to us to showcase all of that. So we got everything we wanted. We got everything we wanted.
Well, I'm very glad you did, and I hope that you get more seasons, both of you, to really expand that work. So thank you both so much for taking the time to chat. I really do appreciate it. I can't wait to spread the word about this show.